My sisters, my daughters, my queens, listen to me carefully. There are some things in this life that you do not reveal, not because you are being deceitful, but because you are being wise. Every garden doesn't need to be walked through. And care enough, every room in your soul doesn't need to be visited by someone who hasn't earned the key. I'm not talking about emotional openness in a healthy relationship. No, care enough. I'm talking about that sacred place inside of you where your deepest wounds bleed and your fears whisper. That space is not for everybody. Care enough. A man hasn't earned the right to see the full map of your scars just because he's intrigued by your smile. You don't audition your brokenness for someone just passing through. Protect that place. Nurture it. Heal it with God. And show only what strength has already conquered. See, too many women fall in love and throw their vision in the river of sacrifice. You had dreams, Karen had plans, you had calling, but because you wanted his love, you silenced your own destiny. Don't do it. Enough. Your vision is the blueprint God wrote on your soul before you ever met him. If he's intimidated by it, let him go. If he's confused by it, let him learn. But don't ever shrink it. Your vision is your divine compass. A wise woman doesn't tell everything she knows. She doesn't expose every move she plans to make. Sometimes your silence is your sword. Care enough. You don't announce your every intention to a man who hasn't shown he can cover you spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Sometimes you got to build in secret. Care enough. Grow in secret until the right season reveals your harvest. When a woman understands the power of privacy, the strength of silence, the wisdom of boundaries, she becomes a force. And a force is never desperate to be explained. She simply moves and the world adjusts. You are not being selfish by protecting yourself. You are being strategic. You're not being rude by keeping some things private. You are being selective. And you are not being fake when you guard your heart. You are being faithful for your future. Ladies, let me speak to you today. Not to your image and care enough. Not to your exterior, not to the smile you've learned to wear like armor, but to your spirit, to your soul, to that sacred place inside of you that very few have truly seen. We live in a time where the world is loud, where vulnerability is trending, where everyone is encouraged to share, to open up, to be transparent. And while transparency is valuable, it must be balanced with discernment and care enough. There is a difference between being open and being exposed. There's a difference between healing in the light and bleeding in the streets. And care enough. Now let me be clear. Guarding your vulnerability doesn't mean you are closed off. It doesn't mean you build walls so high no one can reach you. No, and care enough. It means you build gates with locks and keys. It means you understand that these parts of you are sacred. Care enough. And they are not to be laid bare for just anyone to trample on. You see, vulnerability is a beautiful thing. It's the place where real intimacy grows. It's where love matures. It's where you find your true voice. But when given to the wrong person, it becomes a weapon. When handed over too quickly enough, it becomes a curse instead of a blessing. Some of you have cried in the arms of men who were never meant to carry the weight of your pain. You've shared the chapters of your story where people only came to read your life like a drama, not honor it as a legacy. And Karen, every time you gave too much too soon, you left feeling emptier, lonelier, and confused. You are not called to throw pearls before swine. Care enough. You are not called to put your heart in the hands of someone who hasn't shown they can handle it. Vulnerability is not just a feeling. It's a sacred offering. Care enough. And you must treat it that way. Some of you opened up too early because you were looking for connection. You mistook chemistry for commitment. Enough. You mistook attention for intention. He listened, but he wasn't listening to heal. He was listening to study. Not to study your heart, but to learn how to get what he wanted. And once he got it, he left. And you were left wide open, trying to piece yourself back together. Or enough, wondering what went wrong. You showed your wounds to someone who never brought a bandage. You cried to someone who wasn't built to handle your tears. Care enough. That's not weakness on your part. It's a lack of teaching. You were never taught how to protect your sacred places. A wise woman does not reveal everything. She is strategic, not secretive. She is private, not paranoid. She is not cold. She is careful because she knows what she carries is not common. It's rare. It's divine. And not everyone can handle holy things. It's the place where your truth lives, where your trauma heals, where your identity forms, where your deepest questions are asked, where your hopes are raw. That is not a place for casual visitors. That is not a place for someone who only wants your body but can't carry your heart. That is not a place for someone who's interested in your now, care enough, but not invested in your future. You've cried alone in the midnight hour. You've prayed prayers that no one knows about. You've survived things that should have taken you out. And now you are becoming a woman of depth, a woman of insight, a woman of power. Pile up and care enough. But power without protection is dangerous. You need to guard what's growing inside of you enough. Some of you are in relationships right now where you feel obligated to open up, but your spirit is uneasy. Care enough. You're oversharing because you don't want to seem cold. You're giving more emotionally than you receive. You're pouring and pouring, even care enough, but they're being refilled. Just because someone is interested in your story doesn't mean they are worthy of your secrets. Care enough. There are some things that should only be shared with God, with wise counsel, or with someone who has shown you over time that they can handle the weight of your truth. And here's the thing about time. It tells the truth. Care enough. Time reveals whether someone is consistent. Time shows if they can endure the uncomfortable parts of you. Time proves whether their intentions are rooted in love or dressed up in lust. A woman who guards her vulnerability is not lonely. She is wise. She's not bitter. She's blessed. She's not distant. She's discerning. She knows that love is not built in a day, and trust is not given. It is earned. Care enough. So I dare you to stop over-explaining yourself to people who aren't listening with love. I dare you to stop opening your diary to someone who only reads the lines but never absorbs the meaning. I dare you to stop rehearsing your past to someone who can't even see your future. If a man wants to know you, he will walk with you through the process. He won't pressure you for pieces of your soul. He will patiently wait for access and honor your pace. That's a man of God. That's a man worth trusting. Your vision is divine. It was planted inside of you before the foundation of the world. and yet, true enough, in many women about their vision, the presence of men who can't see it, won't support it, or don't understand it. Care enough. You are not crazy for dreaming bigger. You're not arrogant for having goals that stretch beyond your environment. Care enough. You are not selfish for wanting something more than just survival. You are a woman chosen for something different, something generational, something kingdom shaking, something legacy building. Because the moment dare to carry something from God, hell takes notice. Distractions start appearing. Relationships start crumbling. People you thought were allies show themselves as adversaries. Why? Because you have vision, and vision is dangerous. Care enough. You want to know why some people pulled away from you? It wasn't your attitude. It wasn't your tone. It was your vision. They saw something in you that reminded them of what they weren't willing to become. And instead of rising to meet your purpose, care enough, they try to shrink you down to their comfort zone. You are not called to beg for belief. You are not required to pause your purpose because someone is intimidated. Protect your vision, even if it means walking alone for a season. Even if it means being misunderstood. Care enough. Even if it means they call you too much. There will come a time when the person you love the most may not understand your vision. Maybe he's a good man, kind, loyal, but not called to carry what you're called to birth. And if you're not careful, you'll shrink your vision in an attempt to make the relationship more comfortable. You'll talk less about your dreams and care enough. You'll dim your light to match his shadows. You'll pretend your content when deep inside you feel your soul crying out for more. Sometimes God will give you a vision that no one around you has seen before. Don't be discouraged when your circle doesn't clap. And care enough. Don't get bitter when your partner seems disinterested. God didn't show it to them. He showed it to you. Care enough. Some women are miscarrying destiny because they are exposing vision too early to people who don't carry spiritual covering. He might be charming, care enough. He might be attentive, he might be handsome. But does he have the spiritual maturity to cover your calling? Don't confuse attention with alignment. And care enough. Just because he notices you doesn't mean he's ready to build with you. Just because he listens doesn't mean he understands. Just because he claps doesn't mean he's committed. Every man you date is not your destiny partner. Every admirer is not an investor. and care enough. Every romantic connection is not a covenant. Stop wasting energy trying to explain your vision to someone who can't even explain your value. And care enough. Some visions are so precious they can only be nurtured in silence. Some visions are so unique they require isolation. Some visions are so heavy they can only be carried by you. Stop waiting for mass approval. Some of the greatest movements in history were birthed in obscurity. Care enough. Some of the strongest women became who they were because they refused to let a man derail their vision. Care enough. The right man won't ask you to choose between your calling and his comfort. The right man will make space for your vision. Care enough. He won't be intimidated by your dreams. He'll ask questions. He'll offer support. He'll cover you with prayer, not control. He'll see your greatness and not feel threatened. He'll be inspired. If God has given you a vision, then he's already equipped you for the weight it carries. But don't abort it to feel loved. Don't downplay it to be accepted. Don't delay it to please someone who wasn't part of the plan in the first place. Woman of destiny, you are not just surviving, you are building. You are not just praying, you are planning. You are not just dreaming, you are moving. And care enough. And when God begins to position you for the next level, there's one thing you must learn early, and you must learn it well. Care enough. I know this may go against your personality. Maybe you're someone who loves to share every step of your journey. Maybe you've been taught that openness equals authenticity. But let me tell you something, strategy and exposure do not mix. Care enough. When you are being molded for purpose, you must learn the holy art of silence, not fear, not secrecy out of shame, but divine restraint, the discipline to protect what hasn't yet fully formed. I care, and the enemy doesn't need access to your heart to stop you. He only needs access to your blueprint. Aaron, care enough. He doesn't need to steal your anointing. He just needs to study your map. Every time you post your next move, every time you announce your next plan, care enough. Every time you leak details to people who haven't proved they're assigned to your destiny. You're giving away the very thing that sets you apart. Let me remind you, Joseph was favored. He had a dream, but he made a mistake and he shared it too early with people who didn't have the capacity to celebrate it. Care enough. And what happened? His brothers envied him. They hated him. They conspired against him, not because his vision was wrong, but because his timing was off. And care enough. Your strategy isn't for everyone's ears. Your ideas are not community property. Your instructions from God are not open for approval. Some things need to grow in the dark. Seeds don't sprout in the sunlight first. They root in the soil beneath the surface in silence. Nobody claps for the seed stage. Nobody celebrates when nothing seems to be happening. But that's where real growth begins. But if you take that strategy and scatter it carelessly on social media, in casual conversation around people who smile with their mouths but compete in their hearts, you will find yourself frustrated. Not because you're unqualified, but because you leaked what should have been locked. Your strategy is your sacred compass. It is the instructions that were whispered to you in prayer. Enough. The blueprint God laid before your spirit in the midnight hour. It is unique to your assignment. Care enough. And not everyone will understand it because it wasn't given to them. There are seasons when God will make you mute. You'll feel the fire in your belly. Care enough. The idea is boiling in your spirit. But he'll say, Shep, not yet. Not because denying you, but because he's protecting you. You see, when your foundation isn't ready for exposure, premature attention becomes poison. If you build in the open too soon, people start shaping your outcome with their opinions. You are not random. You are not ordinary. You are not just another voice in the crowd. Care enough. You are a chosen vessel filled with divine assignments, called to operate with intention and walk in wisdom. In a world that screams, share everything, post it all, and tell your truth to everyone, I dare you to move differently. I dare you to choose privacy over performance, silence over self-exposure, restraint over recklessness. We've been taught that if you're not sharing and you're hiding, but I came to disrupt that lie. You're hiding. You're not withholding. You're preserving. Care enough. You're not being fake. You're not being faithful to the calling that doesn't need public approval to be effective. And some things aren't meant to be thrown into the marketplace of public opinion. They are meant to be held prayed over, and developed in quiet obedience. Because when you rush to share what's still growing, you risk exposing it to unnecessary warfare. Care enough. Let me tell you something. Everybody doesn't need to know what you're going through. Everyone isn't equipped to handle your process. And care enough. And the ones who demand transparency without offering safety, they don't deserve access. Let's be real. Care enough. Some people aren't looking to support you. They're looking to study you, not to learn from you, but to locate your weaknesses. And care enough. They want to know your next move, not so they can celebrate you, but so they can sabotage you. Care enough. You don't owe anyone an explanation for keeping parts of your life between you and God. You're not fake because you're private. Care enough. You're not suspicious because you don't overshare. You are wise. You've lived enough to know that discernment is more valuable than applause. Care enough. And boundaries are more healing than confession booths, because here's the truth. Not all exposure is elevation. Some exposure is actually premature. You can step into a room too early and be rejected simply because your purpose wasn't fully developed. Care enough. You can share your heart too early and end up crushed because the here didn't have the capacity to carry what you entrusted. Even Jesus moved in privacy. Care enough. He withdrew from the crowds. He healed in silence. He instructed people. Care enough. Tell no one what I've done. Not because he was ashamed of power, because he understood the cost of exposure. He knew the value of privacy. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in your life won't come what you post. They'll come from what you protect. Some of your greatest healing won't happen in public. It will take place in your secret place where only God sees you. Care enough. That's why the enemy isn't always attacking your future. Sometimes he's just trying to pull you into the spotlight before your root system is strong enough to sustain the light. And when you constantly seek validation, when you're addicted to showing every angle of your journey, care enough. You become vulnerable to a world that feeds on your process but never helps you finish. You don't have to announce your healing. And care enough. You don't have to prove your peace. You don't have to post your purpose to validate that it's real. She doesn't need a crowd to clap. She doesn't need the world to agree. She doesn't seek applause to feel affirmed. Care enough. She knows that her confirmation doesn't come from people. It comes from the presence of God. She doesn't react to rumors. She doesn't explain every decision. She doesn't get pulled into every opinion. Why? Because she knows privacy is her power. Care enough. You don't need the validation of man when you have the vision of God. You don't need their applause when you have his anointing. Care enough. You don't need the crowd when you've been called. So move in silence. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them assume, because assumptions can't stop what's been anointed, and opinions cancel what's been ordained. And one day soon, what you cultivated in secret, protected in silence, prayed over in tears, and guarded with wisdom will rise. And when it does enough, the ones who watch for drama have no choice but to witness your destiny. You are a divine creation, uniquely crafted, intentionally designed, and heaven-backed. You are a masterpiece, not a mistake. And even if no one ever told you, even if life never validated you, even if love hasn't affirmed you, your value is not up for debate. God didn't put his breath in you, his spirit on you. Care enough, his oil over you, so you could love like leftovers. You are not here to be tolerated. You are here to be honored. People treat you the way you treat you. They respond to the way you present yourself. They follow the standards you set. Don't shrink to fit a space God never designed for you. Don't mute your brilliance so someone else can feel more comfortable. Don't give away the sacred parts of your soul just to be accepted. Care enough. You don't see diamonds on sidewalks. You don't find gold in garbage bins. You don't place pearls in the hands of thieves. Why? Because real treasure is hidden and protected and only revealed to those who are willing to seek it with reverence. Start talking to yourself with love. Start walking like you know you belong. Start showing up in rooms without apologizing for your presence. Care enough. I stopped begging for love from people who benefit from your brokenness. Stop entertaining confusion and calling it potential. Stop giving full access to people who haven't paid the price to be in your life. You've cried too many nights to be handled like an option. You've survived too much to be treated like a second choice. You've carried too much weight to settle for crumbs. care enough. Some of you are waiting for someone to come into your life and see your worth before you believe it yourself. But the truth is, no one can consistently value what you refuse to protect. If you treat yourself like you're cheap, don't be surprised when others try to bargain for you. So stop marketing yourself like you're trying to be picked. You are already chosen. You were already qualified before you were even born. The hand of God marked you and then molded you. And if someone can't see that, that's not your cue to try harder. It's your signal to move on and care enough. When a person walks into a museum and doesn't understand the art, they walk right past it. But that doesn't decrease the value of the painting. It only reveals the limitation of the observer. And just like that, some people don't have the spiritual insight or emotional maturity to recognize who you are. Don't let their blindness become your burden. Care enough. You are not less valuable because someone couldn't see your light. You are not less worthy because someone mishandled your love. And care enough. You are not broken because someone left. Sometimes the rejection was divine protection. Sometimes the heartbreak was a redirection. Enough. Sometimes the silence was God's way of creating space for better. If you see yourself as weak, you'll attract people who want to dominate you. If you see yourself as desperate, you'll attract manipulators. If you see yourself as unworthy, you'll stay in environments that drain your spirit. Some of you are in the middle of a transformation, and it feels lonely. It feels unfamiliar. But that's because you're leveling up your standards. You're finally putting a do not disturb sign on your spirit. You're finally telling yourself the truth. Care enough. I don't have to overgive to be loved. I don't have to prove myself to be accepted. I don't have to carry dead weight to be worthy. You don't owe any watered down version of yourself just to make them feel better. You don't have to shrink to be safe. You don't have to settle to be seen. You are not hard to love. You are hard to manipulate. Enough. And that's why they try to convince you you're too much.